Big hey now out there to you guys out there. Ah, that's a double. I'm here tonight on my own. Some vast Abdul's traveling the world somewhere, putting out Canadian wildfires. But here I am. Beach Whale says, what a beatdown. We indoors. I don't know. You must be storm zone or what? Well, for everybody who joins, drop some stuff in the chat. Tell me what you guys want to hear about. I only know I'm feeling like I'm out of touch. That's pretty common lately with what's going on. But I've been focusing real heavy on this marketing and the idea behind the PulseChain marketing and how it may benefit all of us, all of PulseChain. So you have questions about that, we can get into it. I don't really have a lot of good information or detailed information to talk about the exploit from today, the Better Bank exploit. I don't know enough about it to really talk about what happened. But I do know a few people who were in there, so hopefully they got out okay. I don't know. I know that's going on. Then there's been some new launches the last few days. We can kind of take a look at some of that stuff. But you guys tell me in the chat. Otherwise, I'll just kind of meander away into something. And maybe talk about the marketing. So with that in mind, I've been doing some clickbait stuff, but beyond the clickbait, there's real information, right? So I start getting beyond that, and so you guys can check out my channel. I've got 3 or 4 marketing streams that are up now, just kind of like talking about direct marketing, the numbers behind it, that type of thing. But nothing really, about the specific item. But it's been making me pretty bullish, that's for sure. Man, I got a Beach Whales talking about the upcoming hunting season. I don't know what we're hunting, but it might be crypto deals. But maybe that's what we're talking about, or it could be hunting. I got a buddy who keeps. I don't know. He likes AI a lot, so keeps posting all these outrageous hunting pictures. Like the day he shot a lion and he's got the lion with him, and then he shot a giraffe, and then he shot a T-Rex. So about then people can kind of figure out this is a joke, right? But man, the people go nuts about that. All right, mix. Jay Soul says SWM seeking a nice girl who with a paid off cargo van. Nice. Going on the road delivering. Yeah. Oh boy. Let's share this screen out here. Let's take a look and see what we got. So I'll show you guys what I've been talking about. So I won't go through the whole thing. You can go see the stream. But you go right to my channel. We have it in there from today. It's an upload. But this is basically the big idea being these electronic devices being shipped direct to real households, and that's meant to be worldwide. We're just not there yet. So this is just considering right now what we do know about the U.S. Now I don't know how many shipments are going to come out with. I have heard there's more than one in the works, but that's rumor type stuff. I know one for sure. One container is on its way, not shipload. One container is on its way. And real high level, just looking at numbers, what we see is something like a 2 to 7% response rate, right? Which is something like something like 4.5, maybe is right at the mid range, but the idea being that maybe 4.5% of the people who get these things will actually get involved with PulseChain. And that's pretty huge. And as I've talked about in the other streams, this type of product, this type of methodology has high retention. Like people keep the items, they keep them up to 2 years. And so I just put numbers together saying, hey, what if $500 a person? What if we did attract, between 2 and 7% of the people that get the 200,000 devices and then kind of move that out all the way out to, well, what if they did this every month? What if they did it every month for a full year? And that's where we get to this, right? The first container that's coming out, is a proof of concept. No, Doug Fast isn't here with us tonight. He's out hunting. This first container is a proof of concept that if it works and works out the way they want it to, then perhaps we're going to see more of these. So I just scaled in what would 12 containers look like? What's the math behind that? And ultimately, that could generate up to $110 million worth of additional value being locked onto PulseChain. And I kind of back into the numbers, by looking at it, because that's the equivalent of 1.9 million devices. If you do 200,000, per shipment, and brand, I should say, I should call it the brand impressions. I misread that, but because I am going backwards through my presentation, we talk about brand impressions for the devices that are retained. You might have as high as 1.9 million. And then, with people using it 365 days a year, potentially, right? Like something like 700 million brand impressions in a year. So pretty cool stuff. Pretty good stuff. But yeah, we tried to get this stuff done the way we need to get it done. Hey, Saul. Yeah, it is cringy, but you know what? It's a different way of looking at it. So saying the AI stuff, presenting it is it's intense, can be a little bit cringy. It is. But it also is a different way of talking about things that some people, like to hear. Very succinct, very clear, short clip, 7 minutes, 5 minutes, boom, 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 done. They can watch a bunch of them and be done with them. All right. What else you guys want to hear about? What do you want to hear about? I like that marketing topic quite a bit. And of course, so let's see how it goes. I mean, 2 more weeks. I don't know. I read tonight that the guy who's bringing the van is in South Carolina. Is getting in the van and driving it to California. I guess to deliver it or deliver a van. I don't know. If you guys saw that or not. We got that going on. What else can we go look at? I don't know. Price action's been kind of weird today, huh? With that exploit and the value coming down. You know what I haven't done in a long time? Oh yeah, Doug. Yeah, well, Doug, I think we were in the middle of a dip today, and what ended up happening was in the middle of a dip, we also had an exploit, and that exploit resulted in some amount of dollars being pulled and sold, which drove the price down. It had to do with the Better Bank project, and I don't know much about that one, but just a little bit. Just knew that it existed. That was it. Like we say, you really have to be careful with all this stuff. Let me go over to let's go pull up some T-share stuff. Anybody want to hear about T-shares? I like T-shares. Woo! We did get as I'm pulling that up, we did get a buy signal on HEX the other day. I didn't post that up on. I did not post that up on Twitter. So let me pull this up first, and then let me go get that Twitter feed or that trading range, or trading view feed. Pull that up. See, I miss Fast being on because he's got all sorts. He's like plugged into all this stuff all the time. I pull up my old HEX here, the old HEX. Let me grab that link and we'll display it over here. All right. But I think we could do it. Share this guy out. All righty. So terrible. Yeah, thanks, Jaisal. I appreciate that. Well, that's why I try to get all this stuff set up in advance and be able to show it. But today is not so lucky. Let me share this real quick. Get this up on the screen. So one of the things that I'd seen, not everybody follows this, and that's okay. This is the GRM, and just showing likely buy signals for HEX over time, and what we had seen over the last couple of years coming down. But most interestingly, we got a buy signal back here in July, which I had publicized, which is pretty cool that would happen. And then just 2 days ago, on the 25th, another buy signal. It doesn't mean that we're immediately going to see an increase in price. It just means that the likelihood is that if I was to buy HEX at that price or after that time and start DCAing a little bit, I'll likely see a higher value afterwards. Traders might use this a lot. If I go to the last one and just see where the peak was, I mean, there was a 57% swing. And so if they were paying attention to that, they could have sold maybe the 350-day moving average at 48%, and then bought it cheaper. I'm not into the whole trading thing, but I like the buy signals and the other types of signals, because we also get signals that tell us when the tops are close, or at least when we think they might be close, which we can then leverage as well. So that's my HEX. That's my HEX buy signal that I saw out there. And yes, I'm drinking coffee at 9 o'clock at night. Make it a late night. All right, let's go take a look at, let's go to T-share rate. See where that's been. I actually got to change my my models and reduce them a little bit, but let's go see what this looks like. You know, with the change in the staking from the OA, it kind of changed the predictions and whatnot, but it's still pretty solid as far as what we got. I really need to come out and do a nice T-share rate stream and kind of go over that. Let me change this. All right, let's see where we're at. All right. Okay, so you can see us all the way over here on the left-hand side, 827 roughly. Right around that 46,000 range. I think it may show up on your screen for you guys as well. 42,000 range, yeah. Well, going up to 46. So I do expect, obviously, T-share rates going up and to the right. We're going to see that by the end of this year. Let's bring this guy in here. 25. Let's go. See if we get a change in here. You can see our T-share rate just eking up slowly on both hexes, both chains. I do think we'll hit probably around 45 by the end of the year. This is saying 12, 11, 25. If I go 12, 31, 20, 25. Ooh, we see it topping out around 45K. Now, don't be worried. They, that 45 won't be flat like that. It'll start going up into the right again as soon as some of the short stakers get in there. What this is really showing us, and we'll see a lot of flat spots as we go into the future. What this is really showing us is just, there aren't any other stakes that have been made yet that will increase the T-share rate in this time frame. And so therefore, whichever one changed it remains king for a while. And you can kind of see that get elongated out here as we go out into the future. If I go out a little bit further, maybe into 26, that period goes all the way from November-ish, where it'll be kind of flat on both chains all the way into March. Now, again, it won't look that way once we get there with HEX. What'll end up happening is somebody will come in right after we hit this mark, and they'll do some sort of a short stake. It might be 4 days, it might be 7 days, it might be 10 days. And because they get the much higher rate and the same rules apply to them, they're going, they'll create a little tiny increase. So it'll look more like a little jagged upward and to the right kind of a trend. But you can see how that kind of looks like it flattens out for a few months. And then when we go way out into the future, you start seeing more of these stair steps, going up and upwards, 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 upwards. And so we'll see what that all ends up looking like in the end. Like the pulse is stair stepping away, as we go up into the right. Let's see. There's our F1 estimates, not much different, right? They're pretty close at this point. So that's what we got for this. Let's see, what other cool stuff can we look at? Drawdowns. I haven't looked at the drawdowns for a while to see what's what. So this is the 25th, which is today. And let's go back 1 month. Okay, so it's roughly about right. Okay, so the drawdowns is T-share drawdowns, roughly for, I don't have a further date on that. Okay. I guess I'll come back to this one. Let's go. Boy, I'm not having a lot of luck tonight with my stuff. There we go. Just looking into the past, what we've been seeing for a typical kind of a drawdown is something like on the east side, something around 40% of the T-share rates, 50% of the T-shares being ended, not being recreated. Looks like in a similar time frame, about 30% on the PulseChain side. So we're not seeing as many new T-shares being redeemed or rolled over on the Ethereum side. We are seeing some more on the PulseChain side, but it's still not a really great high number. It's just about 30%. So that's going to affect the whole HEX ecosystem for sure. Let's see. I quit coffee and then could not read charts for a whole week. Yeah. I could see that happening too. Let's see. What else do I want to say? How about that? I guess I could pull up a charto. But let's go over to see if I got my PulseX on. Boop. And make sure I'm running the latest version of the yield PulseX server. Bring that guy up. Take a look at the farms. We don't look at that stuff enough anymore. Casey, No, don't give it up, man. Don't give it up. All right, PulseX, baby. All right, so let's take a look at the farms. And if you guys have been looking at this, go full screen, make things a little bit bigger. All right, just taking a look at the farms from the APR perspective. I'm impressed that the stables are holding up as well as they are. So the DAI Pulse paying almost 12%, USDC Pulse paying almost 10%, USDT Pulse 12%. Those are pretty good APRs, right? To be able to get on it. I don't know how I feel about the impermanent loss for doing it, but I'd be able to earn ink from doing that at a reasonable rate. But I would be suffering the impermanent loss, right? So in order to get that, I would be losing the Pulse. PulseX Pulse, just less than 1%, less than 0.5%, 0.42%. Ink Pulse, HEX Pulse. HEX Pulse is 1.32. Ink Pulse, 0.9%. Ink PulseX, 1%. So certainly if I had excess capital, I might consider those types of things because I just didn't want to put them anywhere else. But again, the Ink PulseX, and in this case, depending what happened with Ink, right? If Ink ran, you'd end up in a situation where you're losing your Ink. Same thing with Ink Pulse. And a lot of us kind of think that Ink has the potential of going a lot higher, a lot faster than other assets, particularly Pulse or PulseX. So yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. But these are the latest numbers, right? So like 12% for USDT and EDI, and around 9.66% for USDC. So that's an earnings method there. Let's go take a look and see. Let's go to info. We're going to go to info tab. And we're going to go to the sub tab for stable. I'll take a look at that real quick, see what stables are. And then I want to look at the pool that's down here. So we have that stable pool that's here. It's paying right now 7.94%. So that's what I mean is like, if why wouldn't I consider stable to stable in the stable pool for close to 8% with no impermanent loss? I might consider that instead. So this is one of a pretty great attraction actually, right? But it's only got 1.47 million in liquidity. I think it was higher at one point. Yeah. So at one point it was as high as up here, 3.5 million in liquidity. And so, of course, as it's come down, and we really haven't had the same kind of volume as we had in the past and earlier in the year. But, look at this volume. You can't see it here, but if we go look at the volume, maybe we see it. But during this period of time, there was very high volume at the beginning of the year. And then, but now at kind of like, maybe it looks like it's median level volume and liquidity, thinking in my head. But yeah, 7.94%. So that's not too shabby. In terms of being able to earn a reward. So I know that's been a big thing for some of us, right? Be able to do that. Let's see what else we got. Got the Unity token that launched earlier this week, I believe. Let's take a look at that. I was just looking at that up on the screen. See how that chart has been doing. Looks like it was doing pretty good. Nice little launch over a period of time. This is against PulseX, so this is in PulseX terms. I actually need to go take a look at this and maybe talk with cryptographics. You can see a big red mark from today here on this. It's probably not due specifically to his token, but the tokens, all the tokens have that mark. Some of them wick pretty hard. You know, we saw that on a lot of different charts. All right. And then let me grab our other screen. So you guys tell me, what do you guys want to hear about? Anything besides Corey Bear Casey saying goodbye, cruel world? What else is going on? All right. Well, I don't have a whole lot for everybody tonight. I think I'll go ahead and wrap it up. I think I'm losing my voice as we're talking, as we go along. But you guys get comments out, get your requests in, let me know what you want to see, work on what I can, and get some more information out there, and we can go from there. And with that, everybody, I will see you next time.